I'm sorry that I'm late. We just had a meeting for Fredheads. If you do not know, Fredheads is coming out in about 2 weeks. It's going to premiere on September 11th in Cincinnati at 1:30 p.m. At Horror Hound, at the Horror Hound Film Festival. So the girls and I were on there just kind of wrapping up the details, talking about what the days are going to entail, talking about what to expect, what we're wearing, when to be there, when to meet ahead of time, just kind of trying to organize the whole crew to prepare for the premiere of Fredheads. And for those of you who do not know, Fredheads is a documentary that's all about the Nightmare on Elm Street fandom as well as its impact. So, if you're aware of it, sweet. If you don't know about it, we hope that you will maybe, take a look online. We have some articles and stuff out there. We also have a couple of trailers. And this is the big moment. We've been working on it for 6 years. Holy shit. 6 years. Yeah. We've been working on Fredheads for a long time. But we were talking and we're saying that people weren't going to go to Horror Hound until they heard that Fredheads was happening. Then they're just going for Fredheads, and then people weren't going to, people are like flying in for this documentary. I mean, we're so nervous. We're excited, but we're nervous. And in any case, as you could probably tell from the title of this episode is about Nancy, which it's pretty fitting that I started out talking about Fredheads because Nancy is the reason that I am a Fredhead. She is the reason that I got into horror. She is the reason for everything, pretty much, that my life is the way that it is now. It's because of Nancy Thompson. And I decided to wear this shirt. I cut it up a little bit to make it a little different, fashionable in a way. I got sauce on the bottom of this. I bought this shirt in 2011 at Days of the Dead in Indianapolis when Heather was premiering I Am Nancy, which is back here, which I'll talk about today. And on the back it says Be Nancy, which she has a bunch of pins for. So this is, of course, what would Nancy do, and this little Nancy here is something that Heather drew. This little Nancy, and Nancy is also on the back there. So that's pretty sweet. Speaking of, here are a couple of different pins and different things. So, of course, the Be Nancy pin, what she still wears around. These little I Am Nancy circular pins she was passing out at Days of the Dead and at pretty much the festival circuit during festival and convention circuit during the run of I Am Nancy. And this here, this little square one, this was sold when we were backing the project. So this was like the first button that they handed out, like 2010, early 2011. So that was a while ago. And a couple of these over here, obviously I'm very well prepared. Also these little tattoos. See that? I have this one and another one, and I'm contemplating wearing one of these at some point, but I just like, once it's gone, it's gone. And this, she doesn't make these anymore. These little I Am Nancy tattoos. But let's go talk about the rest of the Nancy stuff that I have. Just a couple of big things. Of course, I've already talked about the poster. But this right here is the I Am Nancy poster, which I think she sells them on her website, but I'm not 100% sure. But it says, Deandra, you are Nancy, Heather Langenkamp, which was so nice because I went to see her at Days of the Dead. That was the first time I met her. Here's the picture from just after she'd signed this poster. That's me as Nancy, and of course that's Heather. And if you see Fredheads, you will learn a lot more about that story, and you'll see some videos and photos from that period in time too. And then I know I'd had a couple of people over here ask about these. Hey, look, there's a light. About these different pictures over here. So I was intending at the beginning of the pandemic to paint a lot of the nightmare people, but obviously that didn't last. And this here is a drawing that was made for me. I actually don't remember the name of the artist. But she made me in some sexy Freddy outfit with a little Nancy streak. And then this here is a picture that was given to me by a woman named Ashley Blackwell, who is of Graveyard Shift Sisters, and she is a huge A Nightmare on Elm Street fan. Her favorite is actually Sheila, and she was on Elm Street Radio, which is the podcast that Paige, the director of Redheads, and I have that we have to bring back into existence because we've been so busy with Redheads. And we had her on to talk to Toy Newkirk for the first time. And so she had actually sent me this lovely picture. And this is from Ghost Girl Greetings, which I have their little Nancy thing there. And I have developed a pretty good relationship with them over the years, which is so funny. But you see this and this. So this piece is by an artist named Nathan Thomas Milliner, and it is pretty much one of my favorite A Nightmare on Elm Street pieces ever made. I think when it comes to the poster, it is my favorite probably, and it's not just because I'm involved, but so you see here, and you've probably seen this around. From here down is me, from here up is Heather, because he wanted to put Nancy in a position that she had not been in before. So I had the pajamas, I had the sledgehammer, I had everything. And so he said, could you pose for this for me? And it will be my reference photo. So there I am from here down. And then up here is kind of one of the first sketches. And on the side it says, to Deandra, thanks for being Nancy. Don't fall asleep, which is very Wes Craven to Heather in New Nightmare for me. That's a nice little thought. But as we're still talking about Nancy, look at these. All of these different I Am Nancy things. There's definitely one more in there. Did it get lost? It's shoved in the back. Is it? Nope, it's not. But we'll talk about this one. Then I had another one. It's not. So these are 3 copies of I Am Nancy that I have. Because, I just couldn't get enough. I had to get more. This one was actually sent to me by Arlene Marshall, who was pretty much the director and co-producer and is Heather's sister-in-law. And Arlene and I had been talking for a while about I Am Nancy and how excited we were. And she was running the Twitter. And Arlene wanted me to be a part of it, so you will see me in the music video on the I Am Nancy DVD. Everybody's at a convention except for one video during the I Am Nancy part that is a fuzzy video, and that is me. So that is because of Arlene. And so this was the first copy of I Am Nancy. I opened it later on because I waited until seeing the film on the big screen at Days of the Dead with Heather, because it was such a big deal to me. So I waited, and then I opened this after. And then I have these 2. This one is not sealed, but this one is. I think I might have gotten this one at Days of the Dead. It says, Deandra, what does celery have to do with A Nightmare on Elm Street? Is because Sabine, who I remember from the Nightmare on Elm Street forums, and she gave Heather a picture of her holding celery, and she's like, Sabine, what does celery have to do with A Nightmare on Elm Street? I thought that was so funny. Or I actually probably had her sign that after. Yeah, because I had just seen it at that. But this one was super funny. She sent me this when I was in college, and it's the dorm copy. Please return to Deandra or else. And on the back it says, study hard, read good books, meet normal people. Heather Langenkamp. And I was like, Heather, are you serious? Meet normal people. She drives me up a wall sometimes. And then there's this. This is not I Am Nancy, but this is a fan film called Don't Fall Asleep, which is the story of Nancy between Nightmares 1 and 3, put on by the same makers of Fredheads the documentary, coming out in September to the festival circuit, and then on DVD and Blu-ray after that. But it was put together with our own personal theories and our knowledge of the Innovation comics, which are canon. Nancy is alive, folks. She is not dead in the afterlife. And we just kind of talk about what happened before she went to Weston Hills, before Dream Warriors. And I play Nancy, which feels very self-serving to admit that, but I had just the best time. We actually filmed it over a weekend, and we were super, super tired. We filmed it in Columbus, which is part of the reason why I moved to Columbus. But we filmed it over a weekend, and then we were like, you know what, we have a couple of other things we have to do, so we decided to come back in a couple months later and finish it. And we thought it was funny because this was filmed about the same time that it would have taken place. So that was pretty cool, between April, June-ish. Of course, there were 5 years in between, but the weather is still the same, and it's Ohio because The Nightmare on Elm Street takes place in Ohio, so that worked out perfectly. But on the front, it's me, and this was like when we were still location scouting, we took this photo. I hate it. I actually do not like this photo, but you know, everybody else does, so they kept it. Here is in Weston Hills, Nancy the doctor, Nancy, Donald. This outfit that I had on here was a pink sweatshirt and dark pink bottoms, which was an homage to one of Heather's outfits that she wore to like a cast party in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Then here is me and a character by the name of Joel, which Nancy and Joel have some pretty good scenes in there. But it was great. And in this, which is available on YouTube for free for everybody to watch, don't fall asleep, fan film, Heather Langenkamp voices Nancy from Beyond the Grave. So it is the first time that Heather has returned to Nancy since Dream Warriors. And then if you want to count New Nightmare, technically, because she did slip into Nancy even though she was playing herself. So since the films, it's the first time that Heather has returned to Nancy, and that is available on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, please do, and let me know what you think. But, oh my God, I'm talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Those are pretty much some of the big Nancy items that I have. I do, you know what, let's go into some of the other ones. This doll here was made for me by Paige, who is the director of Fred Heads. She gave it to me when I met her for the first time at Days of the Dead in Chicago in 2012. Jesus, that's 10 years ago. Holy crap. But yeah, she looks beautiful. That's one thing. Paige is very, very artistically gifted. She definitely can do a lot. This phone was made for me in like 2013 by a gentleman by the name of James Howard. And it said, I had Heather sign it, Glenn, whatever you do, don't fall asleep. And then this tub was given to me by a Freddy cosplayer, William Adams, who is in Fred Heads a bit. And he is also in a couple of pictures in Fangoria with me as Nancy in that. And then over here, maybe I've shown this to you guys before, maybe I haven't. Actually, you know what? Let's hold on to that for another special time, because that one has a really pretty fun story, and I'll get out one of the other books and talk about it. But in any case, those are some of the Nancy items in my collection. Hopefully I give you guys some insight into some of that and you enjoy it. But for those of you who have joined within the time that I started, thank you so much for watching. I was saying that I was just with the girls talking about the premiere of Fred Heads, which is happening in a couple weeks in September, on September 11th in Cincinnati at Horror Hound Weekend. And we're going to have a red carpet at 1 o'clock, and then at 1:30 the movie premieres. And the first 40 people, 45 people get a special gift. So we hope to see you guys there, and if not, we hope that you'll be able to watch Fred Heads at some point. And let us know what you think, because it's full of fans. It's all about the fans, and there's a lot of blood, sweat, tears, time, and money put into it, and I love it. I really, really do. And we hope you do too. So, anywho, thank you guys for watching another episode of my spooky studio. Hopefully I didn't go too fast for you. And next week, I'll maybe talk about the Never Sleep Again books. What do you think? Maybe a little bit about the documentary, wrap it into the books, and then bring in my little booby traps thing over here, because they are all tied together. Anywho, watch good horror movies, guys. Let me know what's going on in your life. You know, I've been trying to keep up with everything going on, and trying to keep some Freddy content going on TikTok, and then putting it over to my Instagram, and then putting it over to this channel, so that, you know, we constantly keep Freddy alive. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, hope you guys have a terrific week, and I will see you next week. Oh, I'm gonna get another Spooky Sips coming out this Saturday, so check that out. Bye, guys!